Hello everybody, I am KRX and welcome back. This is going to be a new format for our EU4 Let's Play series. This is essentially going to be what I'm calling like a 50-year walkthrough or a 50-year guide. So we're going to be looking at a nation and playing till the year 1500. And the reason why we're going to do this is because usually once you get going with a nation, it's kind of just you're going through the motions. It stops being interesting. And doing YouTube series that go on till 50, 60, 70 episodes, because these campaigns are so expansive and they're so time consuming, it just doesn't make sense. No one cares after so many anyway. So why don't we just move on to new things, do fresh stuff? It's like Civilization, right? The best part of the game is the start. And that's very true of EU4 too. The start is the most compelling part of the game, because that's where all the massive decisions are going to be made that cascade through the entire campaign. So let's look at Aragon. Let's start this off with Aragon. So let's play Aragon till 1500. Okay, let's play just like we're going to be doing a longer campaign, but we're going to end in 1500. We're going to move on to something else. So this will kind of be like a walkthrough or guide for newer players, new players and newer players. I'm not going to say complete beginners, but I'm not an expert. Therefore, I'm talking to other people who are also not experts, but maybe need a stepping stone to get to the next level. Alright, so here we go. Aragon. Let's just see what's going on. Now, traditional fashion, right? The first couple episodes of Aragon in any campaign on EU4, really, might just be kind of like figuring out what's going on. What's our ecosystem look like? What's our internal economy looking like? What are all the, sort of doing the prep work before we unpause the game. Almost every Paradox game, right? You're going to spend a good amount of time looking around before you unpause, unless you really kind of like know what you already want to do. But I've never played Aragon before. We just had, also to say, we've just had a new DLC, the Golden Century, has come out. So that's going to be something that we're going to be kind of checking out some of the new features with that as well. And that does affect everybody in the Iberian region. It gives us new idea groups for our nation, so we can go, or sorry, not idea, well, it does actually adjust the idea groups, but it gives us new missions, quite a bit of additional missions here that we could be working on, that'll sort of gear us towards the Consulate of the Sea, which is an achievement for Aragon to control all the centers of trade in the Mediterranean, and sort of ultimately also leads to reforming the Roman Empire. Which, does that actually show up as a... I'm not sure if that actually shows up as a mission or not. It could be that once we turn into Spain, if we turn into Spain, there's a mission to form the Roman Empire as Spain. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the Spain tree. Haven't formed Spain yet since the DLC's come out. Maybe we'll form Spain as Aragon, because you can do it as Aragon. You can do it as Castile, Aragon, and you used to be able to do it as Portugal. I assume you still can. You can either do it diplomatically or militarily. So there might be a situation where we actually get a PU over Castile in the Iberian wedding. As the player playing Aragon, you can get the PU over Castile, just like if you're playing Castile, you can get the PU over Aragon. I don't believe it'll work. I don't believe the AI will... Well, the AI could get a PU over us, but I don't think they can get a PU over us with that specific event. So we'll be talking a lot about that probably, and hoping, crossing our fingers and hoping something like that happens. So just in traditional fashion, let's see what's going on here. Start looking at tabs. Okay, we got a pretty great leader. I like him. Let's focus. We already have a huge amount of military. Our admin is pretty weak. So let's focus admin just to kind of balance that out. We're still going to be plugging along on the military more than the admin. But I want to get the idea groups kind of going on that. The other thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the air. The only problem is plunging our prestige way down is going to negatively affect our subject, who is Naples. Naples is under us in a personal union. If we disinherit the air, throw them in the ocean, then we're going to lose a 50 prestige. If we do that, Naples is going to be pissed. Everybody's going to be upset. In fact, I think even Navarro is going to be less likely to want us as their overlord, because we're going to try to vassalize Navarra. Is one of our strategies here, and that's going to that comes in with the mission here. Vassalize Navarra. So we have a mission to vassalize Navarra. We also have a mission to have 33% node in the Genoa node and build some buildings. So that'll happen kind of naturally. Right now we're only at 27%, so that'll kind of happen naturally. Speaking of trade, it looks like we have a merchant pushing from Seville Pushing from Alexandria. I think that probably is going to be just about right. We could be pushing up here from Champagne, but 4% of 8 ducats compared to 7% of 4. I mean, it's all kind of just, it's all going to be kind of the samey. It's going to be kind of samey there. There's not really any ducats here, so I'm not too worried about Tunisia. So to know whether we could even get some advisors, we'd have to look at our economy. That's pretty solid. That's even with a decent amount of fort maintenance. In fact, let's just immediately turn off the forts to get a sense of what that's going to look like with the forts off. Let's go to the military tab here and mothball the forts. Go back here and see what we're paying now. Okay, so how many forts do we have? We have the one in Valencia. One here, and that's a good mount. That's a really nice mountain fort. The Valencia one's a little bit, it's good because it's our capital, but it's not really a very strategic position to have a fort. I don't know. Yeah, there's really, it would probably be better just to have it here, to be honest, but that might be too close to this fort. I don't know. And then we have one over here. Oh, and then we have this one up here too. Dang. Okay, so we got a lot of forts. We got a lot of forts. I'm tempted. That's a good one for France. This one is also a good one because it's a mountain fort and people are going to be trying to come this way and siege this stuff here. So we could do an amphibious landing here and be the defender. That's actually... These forts are kind of decent, but that is pretty expensive. But we're making good money, so I think we could afford some level 1s at least. This guy's going to give us production efficiency. That's pretty good. Although we're not making a lot in production at the moment. I think we'll actually go with the prestige guy because we're going to need prestige. We're going to need prestige if we're going to be playing the subject game. The Overlord game. None of these are great, but it'd just be a military point per month, right? Diplomatic reputation guy, that's going to be very good. We might switch over to the trade guy later, but I think we are going to want that extra diplomatic relation in the beginning of the game to get some of these alliances moving and grooving. Force limit modifier doesn't help us at all. Let's just go with fort defense. That doesn't really help us too much either, but it's better than nothing, I guess, right? Let's build up to our force limit. Speaking of force limits, we can build 7,000 troops. And that is going to take out a lot of our... That's going to end up being about 2 ducats a month. 1.4 ducats a month. So we'll still be making 4 ducats. That's with the forts mothballed. We'll be making about 2 ducats with the forts online. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. The other thing is, can we build some ships? Yes. Build a couple lights. Let's grab our lights and have them protecting trade in Genoa. I think we also have a pretty good admiral, so let's get him there. The other thing we could do, actually, scratch that. Let's try doing this. Well, because one of the things that's going to happen is our coasts are going to get raided. And we could be having these ships here protecting trade. Or sorry, protecting against pirates. I don't know how that's going to work. Let's try that. Let's just see if it works. Let's just see how it does. Hunt pirates. In the Genoa region. Cool. Who are we going to rival? It looks like Castile has rivaled us. That's actually a little bit unfortunate. That's definitely unfortunate, but what it means is we might end up getting... We could probably get the French alliance. Yeah, the French alliance is probably on board. We'd probably get Portugal and France. That would probably lock up Castile pretty heavily. And that would kind of mean that Castile couldn't really do anything. What we should do is first we're actually going to send this... Ooh, this is tricky. This is tricky because we want Navarre as an ally. Castile doesn't have any allies. Let's ally Portugal. Let's ally Portugal right away. Let's get one diplomat buttering up France. Now, it could be actually... Austria loves us. So Austria's on the table. Burgundy's also on the table. It's kind of a 50-50. France is like very... We don't want France as an enemy, We don't really need France as an ally, but yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation here. So let's just rival some of these people that rivaled us. Castile for sure. I think actually we're going to go down here and probably rival like Morocco instead of we don't need to rival Hungary. There's no point to that actually. Yeah, we can't really be attacking Hungary really from our position. Again, we do. I forgot to actually mention this, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of known for a lot of EU4 players, but Naples is under us. I did kind of mention it, but we could focus on this more. Naples is under us in a personal union. So we are able to expand out here into the Adriatic. Like, you know, we can attack Venice. We can attack Ragusa. Ragusa is definitely going to be a point. We're going to want to take Ragusa for sure. There's other little bits over here. Actually, is this Serbia? Serbia could be a good point of attack. We don't really want to get the Ottomans too upset, but there's a good chance that the Ottomans and us are going to be a long-term enemy. Also need to remember to butter up the Pope, right? If we're Catholic, then it makes sense to butter up the Pope. France has rivaled Burgundy, Austria, and England. We could rival England. Let's rival Burgundy, actually. Let's not rival England, but let's rival Burgundy. That'll make France like us a little bit more. And we just gotta kind of hope that there's a good chance that Castile and France might buddy up. That would actually be really unfortunate. We got our diplomats. Well, what's our last diplomat gonna do? Start improving relations with Navarre. Again, we want to get that vassalization on Navarre. The other thing we need to do is we also need to get claims on Granada, because I want to beat Castile into Granada. And also might want to get some on Tlemcen too. Because again, this is all kind of going to be a race for this stuff. Castile and Portugal is going to be fighting for this land as well. It's interesting though that Castile and us are enemies this game. So it might be that we end up kind of conquering a little bit of Castile just to kind of like box them in. It'd be kind of nice if we could kind of like cut them off from the south. That would kind of make it so that this becomes all of our stuff. What are we doing with our actual units here? Group everybody up and then we can either drill or lower maintenance. We could make money by lowering maintenance. Army maintenance, we could make a bunch more money per month. Or we could drill to get the army professionalism up. That's usually what when you're playing a pretty powerful nation, that's usually kind of what I vote for. Although the only tricky thing is drilling is kind of not great because Alfonso here is, or Alphonse, or however we say that, is our leader, our actual king. So we don't want to drill him to death. We don't want him to die. What we should do is we should roll the heir, though. We wouldn't mind if the heir died. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's get the heir on the field marching. So we could try to kill the heir by drilling. But I think ultimately we are going to end up hitting this button at some point. We just can't afford to do it right this second. We also, Naples likes us, but they don't love us. So we do kind of need to get Naples a little bit more on our side. So we could start hitting some buttons and without worrying about them going disloyal. So we're just sort of flipping through here. Our diplomats are doing stuff. Economy, we've looked at that. Trade, we've looked at that. What other? We know that we need to vassalize Navarre. We're going for that. That's actually going to feed into a bunch of really important... that's actually going to feed into a ton of important claims, both against Provence and against Castile. Which is great. The other things that we need to do, though, again, we need to get the trade power up here. We know about that. Integrate Naples. Okay, as long as we keep Naples happy, that's something that will happen eventually. The Aragonese Navy. We need to get 30, have a force limit of 30. We're not there yet, but as we grow, we'll get there. So again, we've looked at this. We can form Spain at some point. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that by 1500. It doesn't look like it because it requires administrative tech 10. I don't know if we can hit that by 1500 or not. We have available, we have plenty of free states for when we take land, which is nice. Nothing really going on here. We are Catholics, so the Pope is going to hopefully be our friend. Oh, last thing we need to do. Last thing we need to do. Estates. Let's just start hitting some buttons and getting some points, right? Just again, just sort of hitting the buttons so that we can... Though we don't quite have enough influence with the merchant guilds. We might actually want to give them land. However, we give this to them because I don't want to give them a non... Yeah, let's give that to them. That'll make them nice and happy. Fantastic. Gives them more influence, which we needed. We could grant a... Yeah, well, we... We need to do that to bump them up. Ooh, that's going to put them really high. But at least we're going to be getting paid to do that. So let's take a look at... Ooh, we do want to set up our naval doctrine as well, which is going to be kind of expensive because we already have a pretty large navy, but with that inflection of cash, we'll be good. But I think we're probably just going to do... Actually, we could do galley combat ability. I don't usually use this, but we already have 20% extra galley combat ability. Getting 20% more could be a really, really awesome thing. It would be fantastic for us. So we start with... Aragon starts with 10% extra trade efficiency and 20% galley combat ability. Now, of course, in the Mediterranean, galleys have 100% extra fire. Essentially, what? Like, how does it word it? Galleys will be more effective here. I believe for the most part, galleys have double the guns. It's as if they have double the cannons in the Mediterranean. So they're essentially like well above. Like our galleys are going to be like 3 times the efficiency of a light ship in combat, and just shy of a heavy. It doesn't have the durability of a heavy, but it's going to hit hard, especially for how cheap they are. So that's going to be good. But I don't think we need 2 admirals floating around. Although the other guy that we got is better than the historical guy. Crazy. Let's get rid of the historical dude. Here we go. Looking good. I think for the most part here, we might actually be able to... We might be able to actually unpause and get this rolling here. Wow. Got all that done in one episode. That's pretty nice. Got the papal, the holy seat here. The head cardinal, the papal controller. Let's get it up to speed 3, and let's just kind of let's let it run here for a second. We need to get... There is some moving grooving that our diplomats need to do here. So we've gotten the alliance with Portugal. We need to get the alliance with Navarre. They're going to be a little bit upset because we've rivaled. I want to get this Navarre alliance. They're going to be upset because we've rivaled Castile. That's warning us about the fact that there's a potential, you know, we could fall under Castile in a personal union. That, or, you know, vice versa, right? There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. There we go. There. Let's get that alliance with Navarre. And we're going to keep sort of pushing up Navarre as fast as we can. Austria wants an alliance, but to be honest, France is digging us. Let's grab France. Okay, cool. France is on board. That means that... And then I think, honestly, it's Pope time. A 50% cost advisor right off the bat. We might actually be able to afford this person. We might be able to afford this historical figure. Only 1.6 ducats per month for 2 admin points. We don't get that yearly prestige, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's a pretty nice event. Let's take advantage of that. Let's pay a little bit more money. Basically, we're paying 1 extra ducat, and not even full extra ducat. Dang. we're not paying much for our advisors. That's really cool. And Austria wanting the alliance. It's like, I'm sorry, Austria, not this time. Not this time. Get the Pope on board. Technically, the Pope is an avenue for conquest for Naples, but we're going to send Naples into the east instead. I just realized we might be over our diplomatic relations with the Pope Alliance. Yep, we are. We're just gonna have to deal with that, I think. France, okay. I do want to, we need to continue to butter up. So we're gonna have to balance all of our alliances here. I don't think we can royal marry the Pope. Yeah, no, it's not with their government type. That makes complete sense too, right? They're a theocracy. New mercantilism is going to be fantastic. That's 200. That feeds right into trade somehow, and that's 200 Diplo points equivalent. So that's really fantastic. Okay, guys, I think we're actually moving and grooving here. Do we get the offer for vassalization? We do have the offer. We do have the potential for vassalization. Let's actually finish on. Let's get this vassalization on Navarra. So what we're doing now is we're just doing everything we can to positively affect their opinion of us. We also need to be probably moving off the diplomat on France and moving them to Pope. We want Pope to be as happy as possible. So what we can do to boost their opinion of us, because what we need for the vassalization is we need 190. We need 190 relations. We need to get that up to 190. So that is tricky. We already got the alliance. We got the royal marriage. We got the big heavy hitter. Right? We are working on improving relations, but it's going slowly. Going very slowly. So what we can do is we can transfer, having them transfer their trade power makes them happy for some reason. I don't know why. We can also offer military access, and we can proclaim them, guarantee their independence. So we've already guaranteed their independence. Now what we're going to do is we're going to offer them... Actually, we'll probably do the transfer trade power next, because I think this can be upwards of... Oh, actually, we're not able to do that. Okay. What else can we do? Maybe asking for military access? I don't know. We might just have to... It might just be a race here. I don't know why I'm hitting those buttons. Things are happening. We're in Europe, right? Things are always happening here. Let's try this. We need... It's a race against Castile. Why am I getting so many notifications for the HRE? It's a race against Castile here. Castile, can we actually see how well you're buttering them up? We're progressing slower than Castile, but the good news is... Castile might beat us, which is not good. We might have to send them a gift. Let's send them a gift. We have a lazy diplomat that should be working on Pope. The other thing we actually need to do, it's funny. The other thing we need to do once we get this alliance, we need to get a claim on Granada. Like that's ASAP. That's critically important. Everybody's joining trade leagues. That's what's going on in Europe. Okay, let's get the gift going. This, I think, is going to be worth it, because it's just 25 gold to increase by 25. That's totally worth it to us. I'm going to 75, so now it's just a crawl up to 190. It is an absolute crawl up to 190. They're changing by... Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a crawl. Let's build a spy network on Granada. In fact, actually, Granada would have accepted an alliance? That's kind of a nutty idea. To prevent Spain from taking that. If Granada wants to ally us, who have they allied? They haven't really allied anybody. Independence is being guaranteed by Portugal. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. Is Portugal and Castile, are they even friends? No, they're not. They've allied Navarra and Brittany. Castile has no allies. Castile's not going to be able to take Granada. What just happened? Make Navarra a junior partner? I can't believe our king is already dead. That's like incredibly unfortunate because our heir is not very good. And he's really old too. That is that is not a good start, guys. So we're already having to like kind of roll with the punches here. That is not a very lucky start at all. That our king has already died in the first year. So for whatever reason, I'm just trying to think, unrest in our own territory, is this going to matter? Yes. Local autonomy in these regions? Ugh, this is not good. But Navarra is going to be our subject. Navarra is our subject because of that event. And it's like we were getting that anyways, so that's really not a good look for us. We can get yearly prestige, and we can get a bunch of claims here. So that's going to be neat. We have claims on Provence. That's going to be very, very, very important. Now, one of the things that could happen is we could actually get thrown into a war against England, but that'll be something that we look at next time. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching the first episode. I would say not a great start. We have a good alliance network, but unfortunately, the heir dying just triggered the leader dying just got us into a bad initial start. But we will survive. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode.